Dara came across in these episodes very strange, and it could just be her edit because I'm sure production was being shady with her edit because she quit the show after 2 episodes. What's up, everybody? Gonna talk about a new show today, or rather a reboot of a show today, The Ladies of London, The New Reign. I think it's a totally new cast. I don't know who was on season 3, to be honest, but it hasn't been on in years, so I think it's a totally new cast. I don't know how long I will talk about the show. That always depends on how good or bad it plays out to be. But with the beginning, we had a lot of drama because by the second episode, someone quits the show because they can't handle the heat, I guess, or they don't like the way they are going to be portrayed because they are actually a two-faced person. Something I've never seen on a reality show like this is someone quit mid-scene yelling cut as if it's gonna actually be cut. It was a mess, so we will talk about that. My only problem with all this drama playing out in the first 2 episodes and the most delusional person leaving the cast after 2 episodes is that I don't know where the rest of the drama this season is going to come from, because the potentially main villain is already a goner. But let's talk about some of the other cast members first. There's kind of a lot of them. Martha is the best cast member for me. I feel like she kind of makes the show because she is someone who is clearly broke, and I liked her having a riches to rags story and then back to rags to riches. At one point when she was younger, she was homeless, but then she got back in the riches and now she's back in the rags. She is clearly someone who lives her life very messy, but she's good TV. I mean, a lot of shows like this have these people who are rich, and we see that play out constantly, especially on shows on Bravo and Peacock. But to have someone who is still in the London scene but is currently, not in a good place is, I think, a more realistic watch for me. But she's also just super entertaining with her cigarette voice and her having a magpie bird as a pet that just flies around her house, which is disgusting, actually. But I think it really just sums her up, and her friend Margot being the one to say that she is not old enough to just have this pet bird flying around because she's only in her 40s, I think, although she looks a little older. She might be in her 50s. I don't know her age. But yeah, she was definitely the one that entertained me most because she clearly, in public settings, likes to push the rumors around. The big rumor going around was started by her friend Margot, who came to the first big party with her nips out. I mean, it was a lot. She is one of the many Americans on the cast, is Margot. But she started the rumor that Dara, who is the one that ended up quitting the show, was a madame, really. She wasn't just this architect. She is a madame at a brothel, which was a probably over the top rumor, although with the way it all ended, it did make me question if that is why Dara decided to quit the show. Is she really a madame? I don't know, but Martha was the one that went around spreading that at the party, even though she didn't start the rumor. She's definitely the one that spread the rumor. So those are two of the main cast members. There was also Myka, I think, is probably another main cast member. Definitely the baby face of the group, in that she is probably arguably the most likable. I mean, I think she's supposed to be. Everyone talks about how nice she is. And she is the one that is supposed to be best friends with Dara. And she is the one who is defending Dara at this party when this rumor is spreading that she is a madame. She's saying she's been friends with Dara for decades and that she is not a madame. It's a crazy rumor, yada, yada, yada. But then we have Misse, who was also at this party, who was from Sweden, a model, you know. I did like her too. She was one of my favorites in these first two episodes because I feel like she is someone who wants to get the facts out on the table, which is always good for a reality show like this. So Misse is the one who does want to bring this up because I guess there was a party where Misse stayed behind with Dara and Dara was talking shit about Myka, even though they're supposed to be these best friends. But Dara was calling Myka cringe and saying that she's tacky and that her lifestyle isn't real because Myka is starting this etiquette business in Britain, even though she's an American. And so obviously, Misse finds Dara to be two-faced in this situation because she is talking all this shit about Myka while Myka was the one defending her all over this party on these outrageous Madame rumors. So that was obviously our main story for these first two episodes. But to quickly go over some of the other cast members, we have Mark Francis, who is on a Ladies of London cast, even though he's not a lady. But he is clearly a huge socialite on the scene in London. We got many scenes of Mark entering places and talking to everyone. So I understand why he is like the driver of these social outings for this group of ladies. There was Kimmy, who is also an American but been in London for 25 years. She's saying that people in Britain are less judgmental than Americans, which, but I think her whole point was that they are less judgmental when it comes to drinking. And I guess that was the show's way of telling us that Kimmy is quite the drinker, which I can see that playing out over the season probably. One thing about this show, and something I don't really understand about Britain and their social hierarchy, but the show definitely sets up how a lot of people in Britain are not self-made. They come from these rich backgrounds and it gets passed from generation to generation. And, you know, some of the Americans on this show, like Dara, really do try to hype up how they're self-made while they're trying to do all this social climbing in Britain, but it doesn't really work the same way that it works in America. There was also Lottie and her husband Joshua, who are celebrity designers. Lottie's pregnant. She's going to be one of my least favorite people because I do not like pregnancy storylines on shows like this. They're very boring. There is Emma, who is an important aristocrat in Britain, I guess. She says she is the first black woman in the British bureaucracy before Meghan Markle. She also threw shade at Meghan Markle, saying that she still is the only woman of color in the British bureaucracy. I don't know how I feel about her throwing that shade, and I don't know if she's going to actually be able to be a good cast member, because so far she's clearly really busy. She's not making it to all the parties. She's being late to parties. And I also just feel like she's going to have an image that she's going to have to uphold that is going to, you know, hold her back from being dramatic television. And at the end of the day, you know, the show is only going to succeed by how dramatic it actually is. Although, I mean, I will say, having a likable cast does go far too. Anyway, let's get to the main drama. We talked about how Myka was defending Dara's Madame stuff the whole time. Meanwhile, Dara was calling Myka cringe and tacky to other people, being two-faced. And Misse wanted to bring that up to people. She had a conversation with Martha about what Dara was saying about Myka. and the whole Madame rumor that she thinks that Dara's going to be upset with Martha for because Martha and Margot were the ones spreading that rumor. Uh, Missy said she talked to Mark and Lottie about this, and they told her to not get involved. And we saw scenes of them telling her to not get involved because it doesn't involve her, and just let that drama play out with other people. You know, Martha is one to not care, and I think she would have preferred Missy bring up the information because Martha's messy. Although I did like when Martha told Missy to probably listen more so to Mark and Lottie because Martha's life is a mess, so don't listen to her, which was good advice. You know, Martha is keeping it real with her situation, which I appreciate. In that second episode is when we see the main things. I saw in this episode that Emma doesn't want to hear about the tea, which is why I think that she's gonna be holding herself back this season for her image, which does not excite me at all. And we learned that Martha had a tough breakup a few years ago, and then she had a stalker, and it just kept her. I feel like her life just fell apart again in the past few years, which is why she is in the situation that she is. She's sick of the shit in her life. She had another great line saying that now she lives with a magpie and deals with enough shit, which is why I say it's very gross just have a magpie as a pet, just flying around your house, shitting. But in this episode, it is Dara who is the one that throws the dinner party that becomes quite the mess when Missy wants to bring it up at this party in front of everyone that Dara was being two-faced with Myka, that Dara was talking shit behind Myka's back. Even before that, though, a lot of people at this event were seemingly being shady to Dara because she was talking about how they're all at this party. She wanted everyone to gather here because everyone here is self-made entrepreneurs, when clearly there's people at this table that come from rich families in Britain, so that's not really true. But Missy brought it up in front of everyone what Dara was saying about Myka, and Dara tried her best to make it seem like Missy was lying. Myka then wanted to pull Dara to the side to have a talk, and Dara said, "No, babe, I love you." Like, weird. Dara came across in these episodes very strange, and it could just be her edit because I'm sure production was being shady with her edit because she quit the show after 2 episodes. But at that same time, to not want to go talk to your supposed friend after you just got called out, possibly talking shit about her, is strange behavior. So Missy's getting upset because Dara is making her out to be a liar, so she wants to keep talking about this. And in the end, some of Dara's friends, who aren't really her friends, they just follow her on Instagram, then they like her. It really seemed like she had people at this party who are her stans and were going to defend her in this situation. And they did, but I feel like that just made it worse. Because, like, who are these people? They're not even your real friends. They're your followers on fucking Instagram. So obviously Myka is hurt to hear all this information at the party because she has been a loyal friend, and she has. We saw her defend Dara when there was a Madame rumor spreading. And so as the heat continues to be turned up on Dara, she starts yelling, "Cut, cut," as if she wants production to cut the cameras. And then she gives her speech about how she needs to step out on being on the TV show because maybe it's not for her. And then we see that she did leave the TV show, and Myka's just stunned, saying her friendship with Dara will never be the same. So we have 2 episodes only so far, and Dara already becomes the villain in 2 episodes and already has a downfall and quits the show by the end of episode 2. Which made for a good story, but like I said earlier, I don't know where the drama comes from without Dara being on the show, because I think it would have been more entertaining to see her continue to be delusional. But a lot of these cast members do have potential, especially Martha, who does entertain me. So I'm going to continue to watch it for now and hope that there is drama coming from elsewhere. It could come from Kimmy, I think that's her name. We see in the preview she might be starting some drama. And it could be because she's a drinker. I think that could be where the drama comes from this season. But it was a good reboot so far for most of this cast. Hopefully, it stays that way.